Hi, Coach Janae here. Actually, coming to you to talk to you today about the alignment of head, heart, and mouth. I was actually thinking about abundant rain and how abundant rain is coming for us this year. If you have not been experiencing it just yet, just wait, it's coming because this is the year of abundant rain. So here's what I wanted to talk to you about. Your head, your heart, and your mouth are directly aligned. So what you say has direct bearing on what you feel and what you've thought about that feeling. Okay, so the Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. What that means when they're talking about heart there, they're actually talking about your thought life, the seat of your emotions, your desires, and your expectations. So the seat of the place where you hope, you dream, you love, and you give. All of those things make up this heart place, right? So your heart, if it's been hurt in any way in terms of your emotions, if you've lacked love, if you've lacked trust, if you've lacked fulfillment, if you have lacked in something, if you've been hurt, if you've had anger, if you've got, other kinds of things going on, that all resides in your heart. At the same token, if you've had a wonderful life, if you've been the kid that got everything that they ever wanted to do, they were showered with love and affection, they were showered with gifts, they were given all kinds of positive attributes, and they understood and were told all the time how great they were, how beautiful they were, that they were smart, that they were intelligent, that they can do anything, then that kid has a different, or that adult who's been told all those things all their life really has a different deposit that has been put in them than someone who has experienced the opposite. It's almost like the seeds. Remember we were talking about the seeds that you sow create the life that you have. Well, the seeds that you sow come from the heart seat. So the heart seat is what, and that's my terminology for it. The heart seat, which has to do with your emotions and your intellect and your desires and your capabilities, all of those things, and your beliefs and your faith and all that stuff, all of those things make up the way that you think. So if you really and truly think negatively, it's because you have negativity in your heart. If you really and truly, if someone has been telling you for a long time, man, you just mean, you just this, you just that, you used to other, and you like, no, I'm not. It's everybody else's thought of me. It's really not how I am. Everybody can't be wrong, and you really need to check it from your heart, not from your head, not from the place where you believe that you're doing well, being staunch and rigid and all those things that makes other people think that you're mean. You really need to check the place where the meanness or that attitude or that feeling of being assertive comes from. Maybe it's a defense mechanism. Maybe it's a way that you can stay abreast of who you are and keep people far from you by being a little bit more standoffish. Or the opposite. Maybe people are like, oh my God, you're just too happy. Jesus, what's wrong with you? Why are you so happy? It's not a bad thing to be happy, okay? But your happiness comes from your heart. It doesn't come from some other place. It actually comes from your heart, right? So when you think about what you think, when we talk about the idea of what you think, really and truly look at, when you're trying to reverse things, look at what's in your heart. So instead of asking yourself, well, what's wrong with them? Or asking yourself, what's wrong with me? Because that's not necessarily the right thing either. Ask yourself, why do I do what I do? Really dig down, because the reason why I'm talking about heart here is because in 2014, the abundant rain is coming. This is the year. If it hasn't started raining on you yet, just wait. It's going to rain abundantly. So and this is just a way to prepare you to receive as much as you can possibly receive from the abundant rain. And you don't want heart stuff to stop your abundance. Because literally, the reason why it will stop it, because what you say is what you will have. What you think is what you say. And what you say is what you'll have. What you feel, what you know, what you believe is what you think. And what you think and believe and know is what you say. So they are the seeds of what you get. So that's why it all goes back to what's in your heart. So when you check your heart, check it for the things that could cause you to miss it. So if you constantly find yourself saying, I can't do that, stop and ask yourself, why can't I do that? Why do I say I can't do that? Or I can't have that? Or I won't ever get that? Why do you say the things that you say? What is in your heart that causes you to think that thought and speak those words? Because you can actually reverse it, but you have to know what it is in order to reverse it. So if it actually is, I can't do that because I'm afraid that I'm going to get that messed up. If I do it, I'm going to do it wrong and people are going to laugh at me and this and the other. That's fear of failure and fear of rejection. That has nothing to do with I can't. That's actually I'm afraid. Completely different. And from that I'm afraid, you could actually say, well, if I'm afraid, then it's actually possible that I could do it. And if it's possible that I could do it, then I could actually allow myself the chance to do it. And if I can allow myself the chance to do it, then I might be able to take steps to do it. So the progression comes from I can't to I'm afraid to it's possible to maybe I can say yes to myself to maybe I can try and get it done. And that's how we reverse the thinking. We literally start at the root of the thought, which is the heart, the belief system, where we have faith, where we have understanding, where we literally keep our hopes, our dreams, our love seed, and all the things that make us up to be the person that we are in thought and in word and in deed, because we are never going to do something different than we think, ever. You'll never do or perform an act that is different than what you think if you are doing it on purpose. Now, if you're forced to do it, that's different. But more than likely, 9 times out of 10, if you are not under duress and being forced to do something that you would not normally do, you are not going to speak and think something differently than you do. Not going to happen. So the way that you actually get to the abundant rain, the way that you actually get to the place, is you practice. So that's how ballerinas actually become prima ballerinas. That's how orators become great orators. That's how actors become great actors. That's how fighters become really good fighters. That's how cooks become really good cooks. They learn to think about it differently. It's not just making a sandwich. It's actually making a creation. And how can I create this differently so it will taste better? So it's actually an act of active practice that creates something different than it was before. Same way with the heart. So here's what I'll say to you. Check your hearts, peeps. Think what you believe. And if you believe differently than you're thinking, check your heart. Check your heart. Because your words are never going to be different than your thoughts. And your thoughts are never going to be different than what's in your heart. And since thoughts become the things that make up this world, because your words have power and life, you have to make sure that everything that you produce comes from the right place, so that you can have the right stuff. Okay? So if you're trying to lose weight, you have to start speaking to yourself differently than I'm fat. You have to start speaking to yourself. It might be true that you're fat, but you have to start thinking differently. You have to start saying, I am going to lose 5 pounds. I'm not this big for no reason. And when I get to the heart of my reason for being this big, then I can change it and start working on your heart. And once you work on the heart and figure out what it is, sometimes it's medical and it's just medical. But sometimes it's not, and it's us. And it's different stuff that we're doing. You know, if you keep sleeping around, I don't want to sleep around anymore. Find out why you're doing it. And when you find out why you're doing it, really and truly reverse it. Talk to yourself differently. If you need to get therapy, get therapy. I don't love my husband anymore. We've been married 15 years and the love is gone. Where did it go? You're the same person. He's the same person. Why not speak something different? Why not speak, I love my husband. I love my marriage. And I just need to figure out how to make it better than it is right now. Because it's possible for it to be better. How many divorces would not happen if people actually started speaking that instead of, I don't like this anymore. This isn't working for me. That's not to say to stay in an abusive relationship. That's just to give you a different idea about the thoughts that you might be thinking. So, why am I doing all of this? I do this because life in 4G is the most important thing that I have in this world. I am completely unapologetic about the fact that I want the best for you, just like I want the best for me. And if I have to talk to you about your heart not being right to get you where you need to be, I'm going to do that. Because we are living life in 4G and we don't get the abundant rain with crap in our lives. You're never going to get an apple when you plant an orange tree. Not going to happen. Have to plant an apple tree. So, plant the right seeds. Dig up the stuff that's not right and plant the right seeds so that you can actually feel, think, and speak the same thing. It's got to be in alignment for abundant rain to happen. Life in 4G is living in God, living a life of giving, living a life of gratitude, and living unapologetically in your greatness.